records from the secondary database that do not have a match in the primary database. We have all records in primary file. We want to see records alone in the primary file, which of that matches in the secondary database. And we want to see all records in both files. So, but for this presentation, we'll be using matches only, and I'm going to give it a name. Calling it detailed client info. And I need to pick a match case, something a key that is common to both databases, and our customer number is common to both databases. Now, looking at this results, you can see we have customer 1 at the right hand side. This is having 1 because it's coming from the secondary database, because we have both customer number in both files. That's why we have 1 attached to it. So I want to show you the help function in IDEA. The help function is a very beautiful function in IDEA that guides you on how to use IDEA. For instance, you're working on a task and you can't remember the steps or you can't remember the process. With the IDEA help function, you can find your way around IDEA. I'm typing in summarization. I want to see everything under summarization. So once I type summarization there, I click on this topic. It brings up all the topics for summarization, and then it tells me what summarization does. It explains to me what summarization does. It gives me step-by-step guide on how to go about using summarization. It also has examples. It shows you examples, summarization examples. So IDEA help function is a very wide function. It's a very interesting function that can guide you on how to use IDEA. So we'll be going to the next one. From this joined database, using the joined database, I'll click on field statistics. Yes. The field statistics gives us insight into any database we import into IDEA. Now, it is also shared into 4 different types. We have the numeric type, we have the character type, and for each of this type, it lists out the fields you have under the numeric type. It lists out the fields you have under the character type. It also lists out the field you have for the date and the time data type. So I'll go to the numeric field type. Now, looking at this screen, it has shown us the net value, the absolute value, the number of records we have for this database. It has also shown us the positive value. It has shown us the number of positive records, the number of minimum and maximum. So without even doing anything, without even running analysis, without even running any tasks, it has given you insight into the data. It has given you information you need to know about this data. So I'll go to the character type. So any of this field I click on, it gives us information on each of them. The same for the date field. So looking at the date field, we have our earliest dates, we have the latest date, we have the number of records, we have the most common day. Say in the month of March, we make more transactions on Thursday. With the field statistics, you get to see that particular information. The most common month is July, where transaction happens the most. We have items in January, items in February, March. We also have items for the days of the week, Monday to Sunday. I want to believe some organizations don't open on Sunday. So with this, IDEA can give us or can show us those transactions that happen on a Sunday. So I have just clicked items on Sunday. We can choose to save this, we can choose to print, we can choose to close it. So I'm going to save this and name it as Sunday transaction. And this is automatically saved. So looking at my file explorer, the detailed client info has produced another result called Sunday transactions. So we have information in January, from January to December, and from Sunday to Saturday. So I'm going to click on data to take me back to the original database. Now this company we are working on has a policy, and that policy said no transactions above 5,000 should be approved. There has to be an approval limit. So we're going to be checking for where transactions above 5,000 were done that had no approval. So I'm going to be using this same data, this detailed client info. In doing that, I'm going to use the criteria. Remember when I was presenting the slide, I said you have the option of putting in mathematical equations that can help you get out results. So we're going to be using the criteria. Now this is an equation editor. This editor allows us to put in equations, put in different equations. And looking to my right, I have different functions. If I click on this all, it shows me the different functions we could use over time in performing analysis. I have the afternoon, I have the age time, I have the comp if, I have date, I have day, and each of these functions have explanations. So if I click on afternoon says returns a number including whether the specified time is in the morning or afternoon. So it also gives us syntax. It tells us the parameters and gives us example and the result of how they'll be looking at. So for this, we want to get where transactions are above $5,000 that requires approval. So I'm going to be using absolute. And the field I want to perform my analysis on is the amount field. Greater than 5,000. And approval is empty. We don't have approval for this transaction. Approval is equals to blank. So let me confirm if my equation is correct. So once I click on this small mark, it tells me I have a valid equation. I click on the bigger one, it takes me out of the equation editor. So I have 7 transactions without approval. And the amount is greater than 5,000. So let me save this result. I'll call it transaction without approval. And say okay. So we can probe further by finding out who authorized these transactions. How did these transactions happen? Who was aware of this transaction? So this also jumpstarts our thinking. This also calls for further check. We can further prove and find out who allowed for these transactions without approval. So I also want to check for where there are duplicate transactions. So I'll be using joint base. I'll go to analysis. Duplicate key detection. The duplicate key detections allows you to check for missing items in a sequence, missing sequence number. You can check for missing check numbers. You can check for missing invoice number. So we're going to be checking for missing transaction ID. And I'll click on key. Now this key means which of the fields do you want to perform your duplicate transaction on. So I'm using the transaction ID field. And then I'll name this duplicate trans ID. And say OK. So we'll have 16 records where there are duplicate transaction ID. Transaction 1, transaction at duplicates. And they're all this, they have the same type, the same persons, the same credit limit, the same status. So we can probe further to find out why we have transaction IDs being duplicated. Is it that they use the same ID to do the same transaction, or this transaction done on the same day or different days? So based on our audit objective, we can now know what we need to look out for. So the next thing I'll be doing is I'll be checking for gaps. I want to see where there are gaps in the transaction ID. Still using the detailed client info. I'll go to analysis, gap detection. Still using the same transaction ID. I'll create a database and I'll create ID results. I'll name this missing trans ID. If you look at the screen, I have my all is checked. I have my range. For the range, I can say I want to start searching from record number 50 to record number 500. But I'm not using the range. I will use the all. I want to search the entire database where they're missing transaction ID. I'll click on OK. So we have 477 detected items, and the total of gaps is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 gaps. So if I open up all of this plus sign, I get to see the numbers that are missing. So from transaction ID 770 to 464 to 1233 is missing. If I go back to the original database and check for this record number, I won't see it. Same for others. Between 1043 to 1043 is missing. So let's do a manual check. Let me check for 1403 in the original data. As you can see, this transaction number does not exist in the original database. So the same for others. If we check for others, we'll see that those transaction ID are actually missing from the database. I'll be going to summarization. I want to summarize this database based on. Can you all see my screen? Hello? Can you see my screen?
Yes, please. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'll be going to summarization. The summarization task allows you to summarize more than 8 fields, up to 8 fields. And then we also have the quick summarization. If I select the quick summarization, it restricts me to just one field to use. But the summarization itself allows you to summarize on 8 different fields. You have the option of adding your statistics, the sum, the average, the maximum, the variance, the minimum, depending on the structure. I'll be selecting amount as the numeric field to total on. I will create result. So the file name will be summarization by country. Creating both database and results. So once this is done, I'll say, okay, you can choose to add the average, the variance, the maximum, depending on what you want to achieve or what you want to see. So let me just restrict it to just sum and average. Now say okay. So I have my result. I have for the different countries. I have Argentina 26 records. I have Germany 103. So the number of records does not determine the amount sold by each of these countries. I can have a record which is just maybe 2 records for a particular country, and the sales from that country will be way higher than a country which has 104 records. So this is the result section, the result view of the summarization. This is the database created for the result. So once I click on this hyperlink, it shows me the underlying transactions for each of this country. And I already have seen the amount, and some have seen the amount, the average amount, and the sum amount for the different countries. So the next thing I'll be doing, I'll be showing us the pivot table. So I'll click on OK. The pivot tables allows us to see our data at a glance. It allows us to arrange it in row or column format. So I'll be bringing the amount. Sorry, let me go back to the original data. I'm actually on the summarized one, so I'll go back to this original data. Pivot table. I'll move amount to the data area. I'll move country to the real area. I'll move status to the column area. So just at a glance, I can see the transactions for the different countries, the status, are they active, are they dormant, and the total for each of the countries. So at a glance, using the pivot table, you can see transactions happening for the different countries, the total, the status. If I don't want to say as many countries as possible, I can restrict it to just say, I want to just say 5, I want to see 10 countries. Once I click on this, I have just 5 countries I want to see and work on. And then looking at the status, I have my total, I have the list of countries, the transactions for each of those countries. The next thing I'll be showing you is the project overview. Remember I said the project overview gives us a trail of everything that has been done from the beginning of the project to the end of the project. Maybe at some point while you were working, you have deleted some files, you have renamed, you have done some changes. The project overview keeps track of everything that has been done. So I'll click on home. I'll click on the project overview window. So looking at my screen, the first import I did was to import an Excel file called the bank transaction database. I imported another file called the client master file. I joined these 2 files together that gave me a detailed client info. And then using this client info, I performed the summarization task, I performed the gap detection, I performed the duplicate key detection, and I also did the record extraction using the client database. So if I right click on each of these tasks I've done, it gives me the history, the number of records, it tells me where the extraction happened, it shows me if there was an index, it shows me the extraction rate, and even the formula. So the project overview keeps trail of everything that has been done over time. So the project overview keeps track of all that has been done on the file from incept, or if you want to filter by date, say you want to save from a particular date to a particular date, you have the option of filtering by date. You want to filter by subfolder, you want to filter by user, you can choose to select which you want. This is also how it is represented in tabular form. The import, the join, the record extraction, the date, the timestamp, the output type, the username. It gives trail of everything that has been done over time. So this is where I'll be stopping today. Do you please have any questions to ask.
Yeah, thank you, Hope. To all our participants who are on this call, this is an opportunity for us to address any questions you have. The peer consulting team are on hand to take your questions. So to reiterate, this is a tool that is used not just for internal audits department alone, but also the external audit firms. A lot of our clients are in the external audit space. The Big Four are using this product. The network firms are using this product, and we also have small but equally big firms. Some of them are on this on this call. Excuse me, like Abushi is on this call, that are also users of IDEA, and they use it for quite a lot of activities. Things like forensic audits, excess bank charges recovery, just to name a few. These are the areas auditors use this product to huge satisfaction. One of the things that needs to be stressed out or pointed out again is the fact that this is a product that is not limited with the quantum of data. In fact, IDEA gets very excited with big data. And that is why auditors, when they are carrying out forensic audits like banks that have data in huge capacity, I found this tool very, very useful and good for them. So we want to entertain your questions so that we can still give more clarification. Of course, like I said, at the time at the commencement of this is going to be the first of webinars like these on IDEA. We'll be having a series of webinars, and this will be amply advertised through the various media or channels that we have, so that many participants can get to understand the different functionalities of IDEA. Today, what we have done is to give an overview, kind of, but in some subsequent webinar, we will take specific areas and dive in so that we can get to appreciate how strong these tools is, whether for external audit firms or internal auditors who are in corporate organizations. And then we'll be able to appreciate more of these functionalities and be able to make use of them greatly. Okay, I guess there are no questions. We also want to inform us that we have a Telegram channel that you can join. That Telegram channel has to know updates on the product, as well as the webinars we will be having, whether on CaseWare IDEA or any of the other products that I Peer Consulting represent. That way you can keep abreast and you can be able to deliver on your, whether as internal auditors or external auditors within the audit space. In the absence of no further questions, and please feel free, you can always reach us. We're on call 24/7, either through our various channels, emails, and so on, or through the means which we got in touch with you. We will be willing and ready to answer all your queries and all your questions expeditiously. We want to appreciate you for being in attendance this morning, and we want to also apologize for the technical glitch we had that delayed this presentation. So we thank you very much. Bye for now.
Thank you.